Hi, I'm Larry Johnson. I'm a professor at Texas A&M University, and today we're going to talk about the digestive system.
Digestive system, functions of the digestive system, adaptations of the GI tract, general tubular structures, and layers of the wall.
Now, our objectives are to understand the general organization of the organs of the digestive system and how they function to obtain metabolites necessary for growth and energy for the body, yet maintain a barrier between the environment and the internal milieu of the body. So we'll be talking about some defense mechanisms that the digestive tract has. We want also to identify and describe functions of cells, cellular structures, and groups of cells in the digestive system. And here we can see the digestive system start out with the oral cavity, esophagus, the stomach, and we'll come down through the small intestines, the large intestines, a little bit about the appendix. Next lecture, we will talk about the kidney, the salivary gland, the liver, the salivary glands, and the pancreas. And so lining this tube is epithelium on the outside, the mesothelium, and epithelium on the inside, which is the absorptive cells in the gut, or maybe the stratified squamous epithelial cells that we see in the esophagus or oral cavity. Now, the function of the digestive tract is threefold. One is to move food, and it does that, so you can expect to see some muscle layers that move food along on this tube. It also secretes digestive juices, so we expect to see some serous and mucous glands along the way as it secrete materials that will aid in digestion to occur. Hydrochloric acid is another secretion that it has. And then also it absorbs the foodstuff, the water electrolytes is absorbed. So we expect to see some amplification of surface areas to facilitate the absorption to occur. So the digestion itself occurs with the digestive juices, and the digestive juices secretion thereof is one of the functions of the GI tract. And you see the gastrointestinal tract is specialized for passage from one place to another. Is the esophagus, starting out with the oral cavity coming into the stomach. And then the stomach can be large and it can store food, so you don't have to eat all the time. Also, the large intestine store feces, so you don't have to defecate all the time. So you can store things in the GI tract until a more opportune time. Also, digestion occurs in the stomach with the hydrochloric acid as well as the other gastric juices, and also in the small intestines. And then absorption of the end products is mainly in the small intestine, but also in the proximal portion of the colon. Now, if you see the tube of the GI tract, we can start out with the mucosa, and you can see the mucosa is this thick portion here, which is composed of the epithelium on the surface, the lamina propria supporting connective tissue, and the muscularis mucosa. All these together to make the mucosa, or the mucous membrane, as some might say. Below the mucosa is the submucosa, connective tissue. Sometimes it has glands, but mostly it doesn't. And then below that is the muscularis externa, the big muscle layers, the intercircular, outer longitudinal muscle that facilitates peristalsis. And outside of that is the serosa, connective tissue, and mesothelial cells on the outside. If we go the other way, we can see there's nerve cells in here in the submucosa or the Meissner's plexus that regulates the muscularis mucosa. There's also nerve cells. These are cell bodies. These are ganglion cells here and here. And there it's the Auerbach's plexus that regulates the peristalsis in the muscularis externa. The lymphoidal tissue found throughout, intercircular, outer longitudinal for the muscularis externa. You can also see these crypts of lubricant that are glands in through there. There also is secretions from other organs as well, from the bowel, from the pancreas, comes into the small intestines. Actually, this is the small intestines in here, which has villi. There's no villi in the large intestine. This is small intestine in here, and we can see intestinal villi projecting up through there. But we see the muscularis externa right in through there. The little small line is the muscularis mucosa, submucosa below it, and that epithelium and lamina propria makes the mucosa. And so we can see the mucosa is a muscularis mucosa, lamina propria, and the epithelium. Below that is the submucosa and the muscularis externa with the serosa on the very end. And the serosa is composed of mesothelium as opposed to epithelium. Mesothelium is a type of epithelium that comes from the mesoderm. Now, if we look at those structures in the small intestines, we first of all see villi projecting off the surface. But we see epithelium on the surface of these. As you can see, epithelium is absorptive cells plus goblet cells in the intestine. And then you have lamina propria, which is a connective tissue that supports the epithelium. Submucosa is below the muscularis mucosa, right in through here, as we see, or right in through there. And then the muscularis externa is a big muscle layer on the outside. If we see that in the large intestine, you see there's no villi, as we see here. And we see lots of goblet cells in a large intestine, but we have epithelium on the surface, lamina propria. We have the muscularis mucosa, we have the submucosa, and the muscularis externa. Same type thing you see in the different portions. In fact, you see the similar thing in the stomach. The muscularis externa, the muscularis mucosa, the submucosa, the mucosa, and the stomach, like the small intestines, have no villi. In fact, you only have villi in the small intestines. Now, if you look at the muscularis externa, you can see the inner layer is circular and the outer layer is longitudinal. And you can see that here in the stomach. Also, you can see it in the large intestine there.
We want to acknowledge the original sources of figures and diagrams that may be taken from textbooks, and we hereby acknowledge that. That's the end of the digestive system, where we talked about the functions of the digestive system, adaptation of the GI tract, general tubular structure, and the layers of the wall.